Imagine this. In the heart of Kyiv, flames rise from one of Ukraine's most important government buildings, struck directly by a Russian missile. This isn't just another air raid. This is the first time since Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022 that the government quarter of Kyiv, the political and symbolic core of Ukraine, has been hit. On the morning of September 7, 2025, President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the attack as ruthless, calling it an assault not just on a building, but on the very idea of Ukraine's sovereignty. So what message is Moscow trying to send? Why now, after 3.5 years of war, did Russia escalate by targeting the political heart of Ukraine? And what could this mean for the next stage of the conflict? Before we dive in, let me ask you, do you see this as a sign of desperation from Russia, or a calculated warning shot at Ukraine and its allies? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. According to Ukrainian officials, the strike occurred just after 8 a.m. local time on September 7th, hitting the Cabinet of Ministers building in Kyiv's government district, just blocks away from the presidential administration and parliament. Footage showed fire pouring from the upper floors of the Soviet-era complex, with thick smoke visible across the city. Emergency services rushed to contain the blaze. At least 12 people were reported injured, though officials confirmed that key ministers had been evacuated to shelters. Ukraine's Air Force said the attack involved Iskander short-range ballistic missiles launched from Russian territory. While Kyiv has endured countless air raids since 2022, this was the first confirmed direct hit on the central government quarter, an area heavily defended by air defenses and symbolic for the entire country. This isn't just about one building. For over 3 years, Russia had largely avoided striking Kyiv's most iconic government institutions, even during its brutal missile campaigns of 2022 and 2023. Why? Analysts say Moscow feared the global outrage that would come from hitting Ukraine's leadership core. Instead, strikes focused on infrastructure, power plants, railways, apartment blocks. By crossing this line now, Russia is sending a clear message: nowhere in Ukraine is safe, not even the seat of government. At the signing ceremony of his emergency address, Zelensky said, "They want to break our spirit by targeting the heart of our democracy. But Ukraine's government will not be intimidated. We are still here, and we will not stop fighting." The attack instantly triggered comparisons to the early days of the war, when Russian troops tried and failed to seize Kyiv. But this time, rather than advancing on the ground, Moscow struck with missiles, aiming at psychology as much as concrete. So why now? What is Russia hoping to achieve? One explanation is escalation in response to Western support. Just last week, the U.S. approved another $20 billion aid package for Ukraine, including long-range ATACMS missiles. Meanwhile, the EU reaffirmed its commitment to fast-tracking Ukrainian membership talks. Striking Kyiv's government hub may have been Moscow's way of saying, "We can still dictate the pace of this war." Another angle is domestic politics inside Russia. With regional elections underway, Putin may be trying to project strength to his own citizens, demonstrating that despite years of war, he can still land blows at the heart of Ukraine. Finally, it could be part of a broader strategy of intimidation, not just toward Ukraine, but toward NATO. By hitting a high-value political target, Russia signals that it's prepared to escalate further if Western weapons continue flowing in. Quick question: do you think this was a symbolic strike meant to scare, or the beginning of a new, deadlier phase in the war? Let me know in the comments, because your perspective really shapes how we understand these events. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our future deep dives. Inside Ukraine, the mood is a mix of anger and defiance. Crowds gathered outside the damaged building chanting, "Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine." Ministers gave emergency press conferences from underground bunkers to show that governance continues despite the attack. Internationally, condemnation was swift. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg called it a cowardly escalation, while EU leaders promised even stronger sanctions against Russia. The White House said the attack underscores the need to accelerate support for Kyiv. But not everyone is alarmed. Russian state media framed the strike as a legitimate military operation against Ukraine's decision-making centers, repeating Moscow's long-standing threats to target leadership hubs. China and India, meanwhile, urged restraint, avoiding direct criticism, highlighting the widening global divide in how the war is perceived. The attack raises an uncomfortable question. Is Russia preparing to escalate further by openly targeting Ukraine's political leadership? So far, strikes on Kyiv's government quarter have been rare. But if this becomes routine, it could paralyze Ukraine's governance, weaken morale, and potentially force Western allies to reconsider their involvement. At the same time, it might backfire, strengthening Ukraine's resolve and hardening Western unity. The symbolic power of a government still functioning under fire cannot be overstated. In the bigger picture, this strike fits into a dangerous pattern. As the war drags on into late 2025, Russia is willing to cross more lines, and the risks of direct NATO-Russia confrontation grow sharper. In the end, the fire in Kyiv's cabinet of ministers building isn't just about one missile strike. It's about symbolism, strategy, and the future of a war that has already redrawn Europe's security map. By targeting the heart of Ukraine's government, Russia has taken this conflict into new territory. So I'll leave you with this question. Is this the desperate move of a faltering power, or the calculated step of a Russia ready to escalate even further? Comment below. I'll be reading your takes. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the stories shaping our world.